Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming, especially today, because I know it's very difficult to battle the streets and get taxis, etc. So thank you so much. So hopefully we'll all be celebrating Vietnam's victory as well after this. So I'll just do a few housekeeping notes. If you need the toilet, there's a toilet behind. The water in the taps doesn't work, but there's some gel. So yes, I'll talk a bit louder. So yeah, there's no water in the taps, but there's some there's some hand gel there as well. So before I'm going to introduce Suzane in a minute, and she will just talk through the schedule for the afternoon. Before I do that, after the final part of the talk and any Q&A, please stay because we've got a little bar. So you're very welcome to stay, have some drinks. It's included in the price of your ticket. And talk to Suzane and some of the artists and Lum, etc., etc. Before we start, last week we had an academic talk on the Art of Nom, which Professor Lum presented here, and he gave an explanation about why Nom arose and how it was formatted and why it died out, etc. So it ties in nicely with this talk. If you didn't attend that talk, it doesn't matter. You don't have to come to his talk, but he's going to be here all afternoon, and if you need to speak to him afterwards to find out more about the academic side, please speak to him as well. Finally, QPVN are filming this. They're going to make a very short 3-minute video for their TV. So if you don't know QPVN, it's National Defence TV, and they have like a cultural section, and they often film some of FEH's events. So I hope that's okay for everybody. So I'm just going to introduce Suzane here, who's the Director of Art Vietnam Gallery, and she was involved in making this film, and she's just going to talk to you about the format of the afternoon.
Thank you, Stella. And I want to thank everybody due to the weather and the momentous soccer game. I'm really, really thrilled that you all came. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Lum, who's, maybe you all don't know him. Here's Dr. Lum. Dr. Lum is truly an amazing scholar. He speaks about 6 languages, and he gave a lecture on Nom, explaining a very, very complex subject in a very clear way. So he will be available for questions that you may have, and he will also talk about the artwork that's over here. That's by one of our artists, Quinn Quang Tang, who's in the back. So Tang is a member of the Suzane group of artists. It's 5 artists who are Nom scholars. So Nom is the ancient script of Vietnam. I don't know how much you all know about Nom, but I knew almost nothing until 2000, I guess, when an American man who's a poet, who was here during the war, in conjunction with a Vietnamese mathematician in New York University, they digitized Nom, which is this ancient script that is now not used in Vietnam. And he published, and they digitized Nom, so the very first time that Nom was ever printed is a book of poetry by Ho Xuan Hun, who is a 17th century Vietnamese poet, really an extraordinary woman. So this book, there are several books about Nom and the artist, which I'll explain after the film, that are on the table here. This is the only one that's still available, that's in print. You can order it on Amazon.com. So she's kind of like a cultural treasure of Vietnam. And you can see Nom printed in English and Romanized and in Vietnamese. So it's really quite a treasure. So on this film, let me just explain a little. I'm not a Nom scholar, and the filmmaker, of course, is not a Nom scholar. But I met Lê Quoc Viet, who is the founder of this Suzane group of calligraphers, in 1999 at a student-teacher exhibition. So I've been working with Viet for over 20 years. He's an extraordinary artist. He's a Buddhist scholar, a Chinese Han scholar, and a Nom scholar. And he decided to start this group of calligraphers called Suzane, who take this ancient script, Nom, and they use it in their artwork. You know, since there's only about 200 people in all of Vietnam that can read and write in the Nom script, these artists decided to make it contemporary so that it could have a relationship with the modern life in Vietnam. So they do performances, they do installations, they make artwork. This is some of the artwork over here that we'll talk about later. So the film is the product of about 2 or 3 years. Bill Perna of Perna Content in Maine, in America. And I first interviewed all these artists, and then we went to many pagodas and temples and interviewed other scholars and monks. So we had endless hours. So really the biggest challenge in this, making this film, was how to edit it and how to present a subject that even I am still not very clear on after working with it for about 3 years. Dr. Lum gave such a wonderful, concise kind of explanation, so I really encourage you to talk to him afterwards. The film is not about the scholarship of Nom. This film is about how this group of 5 artists took their ancient script, something that's really a valuable cultural heritage that most Vietnamese don't even know about, and how they used it in their artwork and how they're making it come alive again. So they're to really be congratulated for this very valuable way of keeping their culture alive. Okay, so if we can start the film. And I want to thank, of course, Friends of Vietnam Heritage for, this is the very first time I've shown this film. It was just finished about a week ago, so I'm a little nervous. I would like to, you know, this is our first version. We hope to raise some more money and make it better. So any criticism, and I really do mean criticism. I don't, you know, want you to just, to platitudes. I would really like for you to give me critical comment about how we could make the film better and more understandable. But please forgive me if you find it confusing, because it's a very confusing subject.